Hi, I'm Amin Jamal. Welcome to IS Baba's Current Affairs Prelims to the Point. I will be discussing 5 topics and 5 MCQs on daily basis which are important from our prelims perspective. So let us start. These are the topics we are going to cover today. Moving to the first news. In the Hindu newspaper, there was this headline: China's new large rocket makes maiden flight. So China launched a new rocket and prototype spacecraft. So this new rocket is the Long March 5B rocket, and it took off from the Wencheng launch site in the southern island of Hainan. So the spaceship will one day transport astronauts to a space station that China plans to complete by 2022 and eventually to moon. Now, the United States is so far the only country to have successfully sent humans to the moon, but Beijing has made huge strides in its efforts to catch up, sending astronauts into space, satellites into orbit, and a rover to the far side of the moon. This was about this news. Now, let us see what is relevant from our prelims perspective. So, we will be studying about Indian space program. Indian National Committee for Space Research. This was established in 1962 under the Department of Atomic Energy. After this, the Tumba Equatorial Rocket Launching Station was established near Thiruvananthapuram. ISRO was established in 1969 and it is headquartered in Bangalore. Department of Space was established in 1972. So ISRO is under this Department of Space. What is the aim of Indian space program? The aim is self-reliance and assisting in all-round development of the country. Also, the first experimental satellite Aryabhatta was launched in 1975. After that, there were other satellites like Bhaskar, Rohini, Apple, etc. INSAT was launched in 1983, and in India, INSAT was the first in the fourth generation communication satellites. So first INSAT satellites were imported from US and subsequently India developed INSAT indigenously. After the super cyclone of Orissa, India worked on exclusive satellites. So the first exclusive satellite was METSAT. Exclusive satellite is also there for education called EduSat. And in 1988, India launched series of remote sensing satellites like OceanSat, ResourceSat, etc. Remote sensing satellite provides range of benefit. And what are these benefits? Satellite mapping, land assessment, estimating green cover, exploration of resources, etc. And with the use of remote sensing, India conducts National Natural Resource Management System and Integrated Mission for Sustainable Development. India developed its capabilities in the launch vehicle technology also. So let us see something about that. So India started with simple satellite launch vehicle. Then we had augmented satellite launch vehicle. After that, there was polar satellite launch vehicle. Then we have geosynchronous satellite launch vehicle, GSLV. So the Vikas engine, this was used in PSLV, was indigenously developed by India. And what is the use of PSLV? It is used for launching remote sensing satellite in the Earth's polar orbit. So Chandrayaan 1, that was in 2008. This was India's first lunar mission and PSLV was used for its launch. Now, geosynchronous satellite launch vehicle, GSLV. What is the use of GSLV? These are used for launching of communication satellite in the Earth's geosynchronous orbit. And the cryogenic engine of GSLV is indigenously developed by India. So the geosynchronous satellite launch vehicle Mark 3 or LVM, this is used to launch heavier satellites. And this is a 3-stage vehicle. The third stage is the upper cryogenic stage. First stage is solid boosters and second is liquid motor. So the GSLV Mark 3 can put communication satellites of 4 tons into geosynchronous orbit or 10 ton satellites into low Earth orbit. Next is the small satellite launch vehicle. So the small satellite launch vehicle is a launch vehicle being developed by ISRO with payload capacity to deliver 500 kg to low Earth orbit or 300 kg to sun synchronous orbit for launching small satellites. This was about SSLV. Now Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, this is located in Tiruvananthapuram and is responsible for the design and development of the launch vehicles. Liquid Propulsion System Center and ISRO Propulsion Complex, these are located at Valyamala and Mahendragiri respectively, and these develop the liquid and cryogenic stages for these launch vehicles. Satish Dhawan Space Center, this is the spaceport of India and is responsible for integration of launches. This houses two operational launch pads from where all GSLV and PSLV flights take place. Now India entered into global space market through special agency. What is that called? Antrix. This is under Department of Space, and India entered into an agreement with the European Space Agency Ariane for marketing its launch vehicle technology. So now about the Mars Orbiter mission or Mangalyaan, this was in 2014. India is the first country to put satellite on Mars orbit in its maiden attempt, and India is the fourth space agency to do so. In 2017, ISRO created world record by launching 104 satellites in single rocket. So GSLV Mark III was used for this. Also, it was used in Chandrayaan 2 launched in 2019. What are the future missions of ISRO? Human space flight, that is Gaganyaan. This will launch in 2022. Then there is solar mission, there is space station. Space station is extension of Gaganyaan mission only. So about Aditya L1 mission, this is to study sun's corona, solar winds and solar emissions, solar flares and coronal mass ejections. Then there is mission Venus, and India is seeking experimental ideas from space agencies, universities and researchers for it. This is to be launched in 2023 and plans are to study the planet Venus from an elliptical orbit that is closest to the Venus. Then there is Human Space Flight Center. This will be developed at Challakere, Karnataka. And in budget 2019, there was an announcement for the establishment of New Space India Limited. This will be established for the mass production and manufacturing of SSLVs and PSLV, and that too in collaboration with private sector. This will become the second commercial arm of Department of Space after the Antrix arm. Now we'll see something about types of satellite orbits. Low Earth orbit with low altitude, that is 200 to 1200 kilometers from the Earth's surface. We have medium Earth orbit, medium range altitude 5000 to 10,000 kilometers, and mostly navigation satellites are put here. We have highly elliptical orbits. These are high altitude of more than 35,790 kilometers. Then we have geostationary satellite orbit and geosynchronous satellite orbit. So let's see about them. Geostationary orbit fall in the same category as geosynchronous orbit, but it is parked over the equator, so this special quality makes it unique from geosynchronous orbit. So we can say that one particular form of geosynchronous orbit is known as geostationary orbit. Here satellite rotates in the same direction as the rotation of Earth, and that with 24 hours period. It revolves at the same angular velocity as that of Earth and in the same direction also. Now about the geostationary satellite. Such satellites orbits once a day and move in same direction as that of Earth, so appear stationary and can only be above equator, and these are placed at altitude of 35,790 kilometers. So a geosynchronous orbit synchronizes rotation with the Earth, and this is useful for telecommunication and remote sensing application. Semi-synchronous orbit, global positioning systems are placed here, and semi-synchronous orbit takes about 12 hours to complete rotation of Earth, and these are placed approximately at 20,200 kilometers above the Earth's surface. About polar orbits, some satellite orbits from pole to pole. So these are used for the application as monitoring crops, monitoring forest cover, etc. So basically these are used for Earth observation. Polar orbit travels north-south over the poles and takes approximately an hour and a half for full rotation. So these can observe entire Earth's surface in 24 hours. So polar orbits have inclination of 90 degree to the equator, while the geostationary orbit match the rotation of the Earth. What is sun synchronous orbits? These are polar orbits which are synchronous with the sun. So these are at the altitude of 600 to 800 kilometers and are used for Earth's observation, solar study, weather forecast, etc. There is constant sun illumination through inclination and altitude in these orbits. So these are used for remote sensing application too. So this was about the Indian space program, about different institutions, organizations, about the launch vehicle technology, and also about the satellite orbits. Moving to the next news, in the Hindu newspaper, there was this headline, Iran approves plan to cut 4 zeros from falling currency. So let us see what is relevant from our prelims perspective. Amidst high inflation, Iran has got a new currency. For many years now, American sanctions and economic mismanagement in Iran have contributed to the inflation there. Iranian parliament authorized the replacement of rial with another basic currency, and that is known as toman. So one toman is equal to 10,000 rials. Also, Iran became the epicenter for COVID-19, so that also contributed to the devaluation of rial. In 2018, the US government broke the nuclear agreement with Iran and then reimposed sanctions. So there is a Guardian Council. This council is a body of conservative clerics and this supervises the parliament of Iran. So this council will ratify the law and then central bank will get 2 years to implement this. This was about the new currency of Iran. Moving to the next news. In the PIB, there was an article about the Visakhapatnam gas leak incident. Also in the Indian Express, there was a news about Vizag gas leak and what is styrene gas. Let us see what is relevant from our prelims perspective. So a gas leak from styrene plant of Korean electronic giant LG. So this was located at RRV Puram near Gopalapatnam, that is about 15 km from the coast city. So 5 villages in Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh were affected, 11 died and 1,000 fell ill. We'll see something about styrene. This is a flammable liquid and it is used in the manufacturing of polystyrene plastic, fiberglass, rubber and latex. This is also found in vehicle exhaust, cigarette smoke and natural foods like fruits and vegetables. So short-term exposure to it can cause respiratory problems, irritation in the eyes and mucous membrane and gastrointestinal issues. Long-term exposure could affect the central nervous system and this can also lead to cancer and depression. What are the symptoms? Symptoms are headache, hearing loss, fatigue, weakness, etc. So what caused this leak? So we all know because of the COVID-19 pandemic, there was a lockdown in the country. So these plants are closed now. So the stagnation and changes in the temperature inside the storage tank could have resulted into polymerization and that may have caused vaporization and that is how the gas may have leaked. NDRF teams are also being sent to these affected villages. Now we'll see something about the Bhopal gas tragedy. That was a similar tragedy that happened in 1984. Methyl isocyanate, this leaked from the pesticide plant of Union Carbide. So methyl isocyanate is toxic and with high concentration in the air, this can cause death in minutes. Moving to the next news. There was this article in the PIB about the Ayush Ministry formally launching the interdisciplinary studies involving Ayush interventions for COVID-19 situation. So let us see what is important from our prelims perspective. So the Ministry of Health and Ayush Ministry formally launched interdisciplinary studies involving Ayush interventions for COVID-19 situation. Ministry of Ayush is working to address this pandemic problem through clinical studies of Ayush system. Ayush Sanjeevani mobile app is developed by the Ministry of Ayush, and it has also undertaken clinical and population based studies to find solution for the prevention of this disease. So the three studies are going on. One is related to Ayurvedic intervention, other is about population based research, and one is about Sanjeevani app. So under this collaboration, studies are done as joint initiative to the Ministry of Ayush, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Ministry of Science and Technology through CSIR, and with technical support of ICMR. So the ministry has set up interdisciplinary Ayush R&D task force, and this will study 4 different interventions with Ashwagandha, Yashti Madhu, Guduchi plus Pipali, and a poly herbal formulation, that is Ayush 64. Now we'll see something about the Ministry of Ayush. Ayush is an acronym for Ayurveda, Yoga and Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha and Homeopathy. So in 2014, it became a separate ministry from earlier being a department. Earlier it was Department of Ayush under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. What are the various schemes under this ministry? National Ayush Mission, this is to provide good Ayush services. Then there is Mission Madhumeha, this is for cost effective treatment and control of diabetes. Swasthya Raksha program, this is to promote health and health education in villages. Then there is scheme for promoting pharmacovigilance of Ayush drugs. India has begun clinical trial of Ayush medicines. Already the trials of Ayurvedic tablet Zingivir is being conducted, and this Zingivir is effective against respiratory illness. This was about the studies Ministry of Ayush is undertaking for interventions for COVID-19 situation. Also about Ministry of Ayush and the various scheme and this tablet. Moving to the next news. In the PIB, there was an article about Union Agriculture Minister calls for farmers' movement on integrated soil nutrient management based on soil health card. So let us see what is important from our prelims perspective. Recently, the Union Ministry of Agriculture called for farmers' movement to integrate soil nutrient management. This was done while receiving the Progress of Soil Health program, and it will include soil testing and campaigns highlighting the importance of application of fertilizers based on the soil test reports. So more than 1 lakh villages will be covered under this movement, and it will be launched and implemented in the year 2020-2021. This, the youth will be encouraged to set up soil testing labs in their respective villages. Self-help groups will also be encouraged to support this movement, and also the promotion of Bharatiya Prakritik Krishi Paddhati will be done under this. Now about the soil health program. This was launched in 2015, and under this soil health cards are issued to farmers who report the soil quality. So this card contains nutrient status of soil with respect to 12 nutrients. Sample collection of the soil is done by the state governments, and the soil health card, this carry crop-wise recommendations of nutrients and fertilizers required for individual farms. So this was about soil health card. Now we have seen 5 topics, and we'll see MCQs based on these topics. Satellite used for telecommunication relay are kept in geostationary orbit. A satellite is said to be in such an orbit when: Statement 1, the orbit is geosynchronous. 2, orbit is circular. 3, orbit lies in the plane of the Earth's equator. 4, orbit is at an altitude of 22,236 km. So the statement 1 is correct. We have studied about the geosynchronous orbits, and we have seen how communication satellites are placed here, and we have also read that it is almost circular orbit. We have also read that it lies in the plane of the Earth's equator. But this statement is incorrect. It is at the height of 35,790 kilometers. So the fourth statement is wrong, and our answer will be A, 1, 2 and 3. Moving to the next MCQ. Recently, the official currency of Iran was changed from Rial to Dinar, New Shekel, Dirham, Toman. So we know the answer is D. New Shekel is the currency of Israel. Moving to the next MCQ. Consider the following statement about styrene gas. The gas affects the central nervous system of the body. Statement 2, it is a poisonous gas and can be fatal if inhaled in moderate quantity. Statement 3, used in the manufacturing of polystyrene, plastic, fiberglass and latex. So statement 3, we have read about it. This is correct. We have also seen how it impacts the central nervous system. So this is also correct. But this is not a poisonous gas and it is only fatal if inhaled in high quantity. So this statement is incorrect. Our answer will be option C, 1 and 3. Moving to the next MCQ. Consider the following statement. National Ayush Mission was launched in 2014. National Ayush Mission is a centrally sponsored scheme. National Ayush Mission was launched by Ministry of Ayush that was formed in 2014. So statement 1 is correct. Statement 2 is also correct. But statement 3 is not correct because it was launched by Department of Ayush under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Later on, the Ministry of Ayush was formed. So only statement 1 and 2 is correct. So our option is option C. Next MCQ, consider the following statement. The nationwide soil health card scheme aims at expanding cultivable area under irrigation, enabling the banks to assess the quantum of loans to be granted to farmers on the basis of soil quality, checking the overuse of fertilizer in the farmlands. Which of the above statement is our correct? So we have studied about the soil health card and we know only the third statement here is correct. So our answer will be option B. This was from the previous year question. So today we have seen 5 topics and 5 MCQs based on these topics. That is all for today. Thank you so much. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get notified.